Welcome to the You're in Charge podcast, prioritizing your self-care without sacrifice. I'm your host, Heather Dumas, healthy lifestyle strategist, owner and founder of HD Transformations Coaching Company. I am passionate about helping you juggle all the balls and look and feel like a badass doing it. Let's talk about this shot that everyone is getting because it's the new magic bullet to make you lose weight. Does it work? Yes, but there is a whole host of other shit that you need to know about it and why I don't think it's right for you or anyone else. I am not going to name it by names because people get all riled up about that and censor you, but I'm pretty sure you know the one I'm talking about. So first things first, I'm going to ask you this. When you have ever think back of major accomplishments that you've had, whether it's, you finally got a promotion, you finally got a degree, you finally got whatever major accomplishments. If it had just come easy to you, would you appreciate it? Number one. You're probably like, I don't care if I appreciate it. If it means that I'm not fat anymore, I'm happy. I think you will. We always appreciate things more when we have to work for them. And by appreciate it, I mean maintain it. If it's easy to lose, it's easy to gain. That is why all of these quick fix things that have come up through the years, that craze, I remember there was a shot, I can't remember what it's called, but it was like made your body think it was pregnant or something. There's been fen, there's been diet pills, there's been like Dexatrim or whatever. When I was a teenager and in college, there were diet pills you could take that was basically legalized speed. There's always something. And every single one of them has a negative effect. I'm not even going to say side effect. I'm just going to say negative effect because it's not even just like the side effect term is kind of stupid. It's an effect. And this one, they haven't studied it very long, so we don't know the long-term effects. Two, we know some short-term very bad effects. So I'm going to share those with you in the hopes that you'll make a different choice. And yes, I am trying to, push you one direction. Usually I kind of try to share information, let you make your own choice. But this one, nope. You are in charge. You are in charge of deciding what you want to do with your body and how you change it. But at the end of the day, you're not in charge. None of us are in charge because we're not given all the information we need. So I'm trying to give you the information that I know and that I've found through my own research and study of this. Because when it first came out, I was like, big red flags and sirens and stuff going, uh-oh, if it's working for everyone and it's working really fast, we need to ask some questions. So the other thing I want to tell you is that we often make excuses for why we can't fill in the blank. Well, I can't exercise because, or I can't lift weights because, or I can't stop eating dairy because, or I can't avoid gluten because, or I can't reduce my calories, or I did reduce my calories and it didn't work. So, something's wrong with my body and that's why I can't lose weight. Your body isn't broken. There's nothing wrong with you. It just hasn't been given what it needs. And what it needs is not a shot. Not a weekly shot of some magic thing to melt away the pounds, because that's not a thing. But I will tell you what it is. It slows down your digestive process. It slows everything down so that you don't get hungry. It reduces your ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone. There are plenty of other things that are appetite suppressing that you don't need to put a shot in your butt. It lowers your dopamine. Now, I know I keep seeing dopamine detox something on social media. I don't know what that's all about, but I can tell you what, you don't want less dopamine in your life. Dopamine is your happy drug. It's what makes you happy. So if you have less dopamine, what happens? You feel depressed. When you feel depressed, what do? Sometimes eat. Those are the main things, what it does. This drug slows down your metabolism, slows down dampens your hunger hormones, and it reduces dopamine. The reason it reduces dopamine is because we get a dopamine hit from food. I've talked about it before, about sugar specifically, or any kind of processed foods. It gives you a dopamine hit. It makes you happy. That's why we eat it. So by reducing your dopamine, it makes you supposedly less likely to want to eat those foods. Here's the downside of all of that. Gastrointestinal issues. If it's slowing down digestion, that's normally supposed to go to its own rate. Like we don't need to change that. It causes GI issues. It damages your organs and it damages your thyroid. Now, if you don't know what your thyroid is, it is the epicenter of your metabolism. You don't want to mess with it. And most likely your thyroid's probably underperforming anyway, as a result of lifestyle decisions and circumstances that we are all subjecting ourselves to unintentionally or intentionally. There is an epidemic of hypothyroid. We don't need to mess with it any further. And taking a drug that is going to mess with it worse is a bad idea. Now, here's my biggest thing with this drug. The weight loss is primarily muscle. I will say that again. The weight loss is primarily muscle. Here's why you care about that. Muscle is everything in a woman's body and a man's, but a woman's specifically. Muscle, bone density, they go hand in hand. What happens if you have low bone density? Osteoporosis. Why don't we want that? Well, because as soon as you break a hip, you're dead, statistically speaking. Okay. The other thing is muscle, the higher amount of muscle that you have, lean mass in your body, the faster your metabolism goes. So not only is it attacking your metabolism by messing with your thyroid, now it's attacking your metabolism by messing with your muscle mass. So when you get off of this magic drug, you may be skinny, but you're going to be skinny fat and your metabolism is going to be DOA. Your digestive system is going to be all fucked up. And then, wait for it, there's more. There's more. It causes you to have a rebound in your ghrelin hormone, which is your hunger hormone. And you tend to binge. Okay, so now we have damaged our thyroid. We have damaged our digestive system. We have destroyed all the muscle in our body and de facto lost bone density. And we're skinny though. Yeah, it's just bad. It's bad all the way through. So let me tell you how you can have the effects of this magic drug without the bad effects. Okay, the most important thing that you need to do is you need to consume less food than you burn. And I know you're like, yeah, I don't eat anyway. Okay, it's not as simple as I make that sound. Let me tell you how this has to work though. The reason we don't want to damage our thyroid and our metabolism is because it tells our brain and our body how much energy to burn. If you are already struggling with losing fat, with having energy during the day, you probably already have an underacting thyroid. You probably are also insulin resistant. What that means is that when your body sends insulin out to match up with the sugar or food that you've eaten, your brain doesn't hear it. And so that insulin pump is like it's like a dripping faucet. It just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes, and you can't hear it. Why that's bad? I've talked about this before. Insulin causes you to store body fat. Okay. It tells your brain to stop burning fat because it already has enough energy coming in. So how do we avoid this? How do we not go follow the herd and get this shot, which ironically is kind of funny because, a year or two ago, everyone was fighting not to get one shot. And now we're all clamoring to get another. Just tells you how fucked up things are. Here's what you need to do. You need to eat whole foods, things that have one ingredient, like potato, like broccoli, like chicken. That has one ingredient, right? Whole foods. You need to sleep. If you don't sleep, you are hungrier. If you're hungrier, you eat more. Also, when you're sleeping, that's when your body does all its repair, cleansing, gets everything running right. So basically, you're not allowing your body to clean out the gunk. So it's holding on to the gunk, and then it's causing you to shove more in your face. Fast. You got to give your body time to not be eating. Minimum 12 hours. Work your way up to 14. Don't do 16 unless you talk to me about it, because there's rules around that for women. Big time. Otherwise, you mess up your hormones. But 12, easy, every night. 12 hours without eating, your body will make huge changes. Okay. Eventually lower your carbs. Now I say eventually, because I don't want you to go straight keto, because if your body is insulin resistant, it's very possible that it does not know how to use fat for energy. So what happens if you go straight keto without teaching your body how to be metabolically flexible, meaning it can use fat or sugar for energy, it burns muscle. That is why everyone that goes keto loses all this weight, because they lose muscle. Most of them are not in actual ketosis. Most of them are actually not burning fat. Some are, but your body has to be prepared for that. So you have to gradually lower your carbohydrates. You have to increase fasting. You have to make sure you're sleeping and do a lot of other things to make sure that your body can actually use that fat. Slow exercise, not HIIT training, not sprinting, not spin class, not any of that. Walking. That will make a huge difference because, again, we need to burn fat, right? You can't burn fat when your heart rate's super high. You burn the sugar you have, and then guess what you burn? Muscle. You burn muscle, which is why everyone thinks that they go to spin class and they lose weight. Yes, you do. You lose muscle. I'm not against spin class. I love teaching spin. I love doing spin, but not every day and not nearly to the level that I did before, because now I know what's better for my body. You also need to lift weights, muscle. I don't know if you've heard this here, but muscle matters. Okay. So lifting heavy weights helps build the muscle. Having lots of muscle helps speed up your metabolism. Doing all these other things helps you to burn fat, maintain muscle, lose fat, not necessarily weight, depending on how much fat you have to lose, and to become metabolically flexible, which is the most important thing. You also need to reduce the dopamine. Remember, I talked about dopamine, that dopamine hit that comes with eating a lot of food. If you eat chicken and broccoli, you're not going to get a big dopamine hit, which means you're not going to get a big crash. Your brain is like a slot machine when it gets sugar. It's like ding, 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 ding. If you give it protein, if you give it healthy fats, you're not going to get that huge dopamine rush, but you're also not going to get the crash and your brain craving more. I want you to think of like the first time you ever rode like the most fun ride at an amusement park. What'd you want to do? You want to go back on it, right? That's dopamine. Your brain was like, hey, that was awesome. Let's do more. So if you reduce the consumption of those dopamine inducing foods, you don't have to do a dopamine detox and you don't have to put a shot in your ass to help you reduce your dopamine. You just stop eating it. Increase your protein and your fiber and eat them first. I will do this on another podcast episode another time, but I want you to think of your body's nutrient intake like getting on the freeway and where they're metered. And if it's not metered, everyone kind of merges together and it's this big clusterfuck, right? But if it's metered, only one or two cars get on at a time. Eating fiber, eating protein, eating high quality fats all help meter your body's intake of calories, intake of nutrients. If you eat a donut, there's no fiber, there's no protein, and it floods your system with sugar and fat. Not good. So you have to eat fiber, you have to eat protein, and you have to eat it first. That means eat your salad first, eat your broccoli first, then eat your steak or your chicken, then eat your potatoes. Normally, I'm guessing you do it the other way around because your brain says, I'm hungry. The potatoes are going to give me sugar right away and make me feel good. So I should eat those first. Reverse the order of eating. Don't worry, I'm going to go through these all at the end for you. So stay with me. You need to eat until you are satisfied, but not over full. And then you need to allow your digestive system to do its job, which means you can't keep shoving food in there. It has to have time to do its job. If you're like constantly eating, it's constantly working and churning and churning and churning. Okay. And it's eventually going to burn out. There are different supplements that you can take that will help with your regulating your blood sugar, help with your insulin resistance, and will not have negative effects. Berberine is a natural one that you can do. And it has been shown to be as effective as metformin, which is the one that you can get for a prescription from your doctor. Now, I'm not saying you have to go get on these or that you should go get on these, but you should consider it. Talk to your physician, get a functional medical provider to work with you, not just your traditional doctor, and talk to them about this, because if you can regulate your blood sugar and your insulin, you will not have the cravings and you will be able to burn the fat and not store it. That's a really, really long description. The other thing is my friend Shelly Joe with Shelly Joe Hypnoaminos. She has a supplement called TrimFit, I think it's called, and it helps with both appetite suppression and fat burning. And it is not as dangerous as the shot in your ass. And it's a very, very natural quality product. And I will link to that in the show notes also. So that's a big long list, right? Let me list them out for you. Eat whole foods, get your sleep, fast a minimum of 12 hours, maybe up to 14. Slowly lower your carbohydrate intake, exercise slowly, walking, lift weights, heavy, reduce the dopamine hits by not consuming the foods that send your brain into a slot machine effect. Increase your fiber and your protein and eat them before you eat the starches. Make sure that you slow your digestive system by remaining full and eating that fiber. Try a supplement to help regulate your blood sugar and your insulin. That's it. Those are the things that you need to do. They are not a quick fix. They are a safe fix. They are a sure bet. I'll tell you that. They are a sure bet. 100% of my clients that do this lose the weight and keep it off. My clients average 10 pounds a month and they keep it off. Now you can go do this shot thing and you can probably lose more than that, faster than that, but you're going to have digestive issues. You're going to have a loss of muscle, a loss of bone density, and God knows what else down the road. Please don't go do that. Call me. I can go into depth even more if you want. I can send you the science. I can send you the studies. I can send you to a provider that will help you out. I can give you resources, but I just don't want you to go do this, please. There's no quick fix. You won't appreciate it because it's going to bounce back. And there is a little bit of satisfaction that comes from doing it the quote unquote hard way. So thank you for coming to my soapbox, coming to my rant about the drug that starts with an O and all of its cousins. Like I said, I'm happy to talk to you about it. But in the meantime, I have a metabolic reset that is free on my website. That is a great place to start. I also have a healthy lifestyle jumpstart that includes that and a few other things. So if you really do want to do the fast way, the fast track, that's the way to do it. I will link to all of that and more in the show notes. And as always, you can always reach out to me, DM me Jumpstart, DM me help, and I will shoot you a message back and we will figure it out. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, you're in charge. You're the only one who can create the life and the body you desire. You and only you. I'm here to guide you. I'm here to cheer you on and occasionally to give you the kick in the ass you need to make it happen. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. If you found value in today's episode, please hit subscribe. It'll bring all the newest episodes to the top of your list. You won't have to worry about it. One less thing. And I would love for you to share it with your most stressed out, frazzled friend. She needs it even more than you do. If you have a question or a topic that you'd like me to cover, reach out, shoot me a message on any of the socials or directly on my website. I would love to hear your idea, your question, and I'm always looking for new ones. Until next time, keep being the badass you are, and remember, you are in charge.